Good evening, good evening. It may be morning when you're watching it. I don't know, but all I know is welcome to the Impact Podcast. Today is Thursday because we're recording. But again, you may be watching it at another time. I am so excited about this conversation, which just 10 seconds, if that, before now, it came up. So, menopause is what we're talking about today. And from my understanding, it is a hot, pun intended, topic. So, I'm not going to take a long time to get into it. I'm going to lightly introduce our guest so that we can jump right into it. I will say this: we are sending all of our impact love and hugs and things to Obiama. She is not able to be here tonight, but she sent in some questions. So we will get her in there. Who we do have with us today, of course, we have my sister here, Damaris. So she is here. And I want to introduce first Sharon. So she is definitely known in the early childhood education world. And so she shared some stuff with me. So I'll share that and then let Sharon speak. And so Sharon Mullings Nilsson is definitely involved in a lot of initiatives. She is a powerhouse in our early childhood education world. She's a part-time
ECE,
yeah,
yeah.
all the stuff. Part-time staff person at Woodland Academy and worked part-time as an ECE program manager at the Reinvestment Fund. A consultant in newly formed Provider Council, Early Childhood Provider Council, and the National Rapid Survey Advisory Team. That's new for me. I didn't know. Co-founder of the Voice of ECE Powerhouse, and most importantly, a mom and a grandmother. So, hi, Sharon, and welcome to the Impact Podcast. Did you want to share anything with the people?
I, I'm just really excited to be on this podcast. Like I was telling Nadia, I felt like I was the winner of that $100 million, $1 billion ticket. I've been waiting for this like people wait for Oprah. So I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited too. I'm so excited. And as I shared, our guest this evening, I told her when this topic came up, and I tell you guys every time before every podcast, we have a couple of podcast series conversations because that's just how much we talk about. But menopause came up, and I immediately thought of Viviani, who I am getting ready to introduce, because first of all, we have so many amazing conversations when I'm getting my skincare done. She is like expert esthetician, and so I know on your platform, Viviani, and I'm going to let you share. I think you'll do a much better job at sharing who you are, but um, your platform speaks so much about menopause and in connection with like the woman's body and skincare. And so I've always been intrigued by it. And so when menopause came up, you immediately came to mind. So I want to introduce you. This is my esthetician. I debated saying that because I'm a little selfish, but I'm like,
Oh,
I
you're
gotta tell
done
you,
now. I was looking at her title. I was looking at her.
no,
I'm in on LinkedIn.
Yes.
I'm
I'm
on the
booking,
books already. So that's
I'm
the
booking
only
a
reason.
session right now, Lee. I'm going to push you off that platform.
Listen,
It's
I'm
going to
on
be
her.
our
Otherwise, I wouldn't have, but I wouldn't do that. I love all my people, so I'm sharing. So please welcome Viviani Ayers, founder of Viviani Ayers Skin Wellness. Welcome to the podcast. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell the people who you are and what you do?
Well, thank you, Aaliyah, for having me in your show, your podcast. Let's call it show. And
Thank you.
I'm glad to meet the ladies here, Sharon and Damaris. Beautiful name. Yeah. So my name is Viviani Itis. I am an esthetician, licensed esthetician, massage therapist, and also makeup artist. Massage therapy is a part of me, but I don't perform massages like full body massages anymore. Mainly focus on the face and décolleté. Um, been doing aesthetics for 21 years. I have worked with, within that period, I have worked with a dermatologist, Dr. Susan Taylor, for a few years. And I also was an educator for her product line that she launched, a few years ago. So I was able to really get familiar and confident in treating skin of color within the 20 something years of experience. My experience has always been more like, well, the majority of my clients are Caucasian women. So working with Dr. Susan Taylor, I was able to really work with skin of color treatments and conditions, and understand how our skin is just different, just respond to things differently because we are structurally different. And so that really, helped me to understand and dive deeper into skin health or skin wellness. And then have worked with different brands nationally, internationally, um, done some management, different spas, and was traveling a lot. And then I just decided to stay home, Philly. And then my last job, uh, then I was able to really dive into more of the advanced skincare with different equipments, like technology, different modalities, which enhanced my experience with skincare, as a total. And then pandemic hit, and I made my dream come true to have my own practice. So I'm based in Philadelphia, in Plymouth meeting at this moment, since 2020. So I opened my business during the pandemic, and I was booked already 3 months in advance, and then got into 6 months, and then I have a waiting list now, and so forth. Yeah.
That was a very bold
It was funny.
move, but I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, because I
It,
feel
it was
like
it
it
was
was
funny when
just
I
di-
go
divine
ahead.
intervention at that moment, because my job paid well, and I was among star estheticians, and I really liked what I worked. It was the dynamic was, a little, there was a little friction there, but I'm used to it. So the pandemic, it was just like, all right, now just go and live your life and live your dream. And that was it. So I started offering, like around April 2020, I would start offering like virtual consultations for like donation only. And then by June, July, I was charging, like $50. And I actually was sending fewer of the clients to my last job, and other places. And then in October, yeah, in October, I already had like e-commerce going slowly, because I already got in touch with some brands that I had a relationship with. And then when I start seeing clients, I was already good to go. Mhm.
Yeah, I remember. I think what stood out about you. So I would go get massages and things like that. You know, how you get the package, and it's like a massage and a facial. Like that was the
Mhm.
extent. But there was a point when I really wanted to focus on my skin, but I did want to go to someone who specialized in uh, skin of color, right?
Mhm.
Okay, yes, women of color. And so that's what I was looking for. And so when I saw it and I tried to book, and I was like, okay. And I went back on, and somehow I honestly don't know if what I chose was what I needed. I just wanted to get in, and I was like, I choose that, and then we'll go from there. So yes, when I said I'm booked, it's every 3 months, because I'm before I go, I'm like, okay, we book out 6 months. But there was so much learning in there. I know we're going to get into menopause, but the reason I bring it up is because I think for me, when I first came to you, what I said was I wanted to focus on my acne, right? And I
Mhm.
think sometimes we don't know the terminology, and you were like, well, you don't have acne. I was like, no, I keep breaking out, right? Like, and so, and first time I was educated about with my skin, and I was like, this is what I needed all along. But the funny part is, I also learned that there was work that I needed to get done. I remember coming back, and you were like, "Okay, did you follow the regimen?" And I was like, "I was just coming back. I wanted to come back so that you could do the work. I wanted you to fix what was going on." And you were like, "No, I just kind of support. You do the work in between." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
I
So,
missed that, right?
what'd you say?
You were like, I missed that part.
Yeah, right.
Yes, because we like to go get fixed. And it's like, just fix it. But there's some things that, that we need to do in between that really is the work. And then, right, get educated, do the work, and then maintain. And that's what I ended up learning is that the 2 times a day, like the morning and the evening, that work as well as the diet and just understanding. And so I bring all this up too, so we can get in this conversation about understanding what's going on in our bodies or with our bodies. Because for me, so I'm 40. I'm never ashamed to say, well, no one has to say their age, but at 43, this is a period where I'm not sure what's going on with my body at times. I'm like, okay, is that the age? Is that something that's hereditary? Is that like, I'm not sure. And I would be frustrated at the fact that how am I in my 40s and I keep breaking out? And like, so what's actually going on? And that's where I'm learning to seek.
I think she's breaking up a little bit.
Yeah.
She's talking about she's at her 40s. Oh, child, please.
I was working out.
I'm not even feeling sorry for Leah. No,
Right, right.
Oh, please tell me I'm back.
Yes,
no,
you're
you're
back.
back. Oh, you're
you're
back.
you're back.
You're
You're
definitely
discovering
back.
your body at 40.
Yes,
Please,
at
child.
40.
Did you
Oh, it's
guys
good. It's
say
good
you
though.
don't
It's
feel
yeah.
sorry?
No, we don't feel
No, I
sorry
was
for
just
you.
saying that, at 40 you look amazing. But some of us on the call have not seen 40 in a couple of years. So
Yeah.
Well,
Just
you
some of
ladies
us.
look good too. Well, you ladies,
and we
listen.
definitely know what's going on with our bodies, right?
Right, that part.
Okay. Let's talk about it then. Because I don't know sometimes. I don't know. I
No, I
definitely wanted to ask
understand.
this question.
I understand.
I wanted to ask this question. So, what is menopause then? What is menopause? Right?
So can I go back to the skin
Mm-hmm.
factor first? So culturally, as people of color, we grew up and we're influenced by how we take care of our hairs.
Mm-hmm.
So the skin wasn't an issue, hasn't been an issue because of makeup, because you could
Mm.
cover the hyperpigmentation, because you could cover acne scarring. And
Mm-hmm.
scarring and pigmentation are two different things. Even the language of, oh, acne scar, but it's pointing on discoloration, hyperpigmentation is the same, kind of the same thing. So a lot of us just grew up watching our grandmothers or mothers or aunts and cousins wearing a lot of makeup and taking care of their hair, but not knowing how to take care of their skin.
Yeah.
So thank God for the past 10 years, skin became a thing. And I think it even became even more during the pandemic because people didn't have to go anywhere, right? So then now skin health became a topic, a trending topic. So, but I've been on this, quest since, I would say, since I got into the beauty industry back in 2001. And because as a massage therapist, I've always been into nutrition, I've always been into body work and getting into skincare, it was just no brainer for me. But also culturally, I'm from Brazil. You guys can hear my accent. So culturally, I grew up. My mom was very big on herbs and have access to fresh food, fresh produce. So I grew up with that. So the inner health always been a part of my life. This is nothing new. So when I combine these three parts of who I am, and what I have, it just makes sense. So I treat the skin holistically, meaning as a whole. Still, when you use the term of holistic, people think that is, or just natural thing. But no, I like to combine the natural and also the science and cosmeceutical products, because you're gonna have faster results that way. So skin health is just like dental health. Period. So the same way the dentist will tell you to brush your teeth morning and night, you should take care of your skin morning and night. So is a routine, is a habit that we are not accustomed to. So I get a lot of women in their 30s, but more around our age. I'm 49. I will be 49 in November. No shame to my game. I like to share my age because I want women to feel comfortable with that. And if they're uncomfortable, they need to understand how they can become more comfortable. So I do that because I give permission. I feel like my intention is to give permission to women to be like, yeah, I'm in my 50s, I'm in my 60s, or whatever. It comes down to, yeah, biologically, the body is telling us how old we are. But
Yeah.
mentally, right? Mentally, we have to kind of trick our minds too. Like, hey, I'm not too old. Let me put a red lipstick. Let me put like wear some earrings, or put up
It's
bold dress, right? So it's just different ways that we can kind of embody that confident woman through accessories, right? So then when you start taking care of your skin, it becomes your best accessory, because now you feel good, you look good. And the breakouts and the hyperpigmentation, they're not going to go away on its own. It requires you to be a part of it. And a facial is not enough either. And finding a profession that is as passionate as I am is very, very hard. Because of my background, because I'm in tune with the body, and I'm in tune with the skin, and then I just connect with the mind as well, the mental, right? The mental mindset when it comes to taking care of self. So
yeah.
taking care of your skin it should not be a self-care Sunday thing. It should be an everyday thing.
Yeah.
Period. So that is that for the skin. And then you ladies can ask me questions, but when it comes to menopause can start as early as late 30s. Some women, and I've done extensive research around menopause. One back in 2007 that I took some postgraduate classes on that, and then fast forward, now I am reading books about it because I'm going through it, right? So, and then my clients are around my age or older, so I really need to dive into the topic, and I'm still learning, I'm still exploring. But perimenopause, where women start just having settled symptoms such as warm wave, not a full-blown hot flash, warm waves, some moodiness, right? We already having around our period when we're PMSing. So it's very similar to that. And then whoever has a touch of ADHD, it gets worse. So it does affect, because it's all hormonal related, right? So now estrogen start like dropping, like decrease. So then now we are losing moisture. So you notice more dryness. Perimenopause and menopause, there is an increase of androgens, which is a sex hormones, is a masculine hormone, male hormone
Did you say a
that
decrease or increase?
decrease, estrogen decrease, and then androgens, the increase, which is the male hormone with the
Oh, okay.
testosterone. So that's why, Aaliyah, you experience breakouts, not acne, right?
Yeah.
So cycle stress is a way the body respond to that. But women, they are on full blown. menopause and they have already a tendency to break out, or they are acne prone, it can get worse.
Mm.
Lack of skincare, or adding to the cravings of I'm hungry, but you're not hungry. Is your body going into protective mode?
Mm.
So then you're overeating sugar, refined carbohydrates, and then now your digestive system is like loaded in things that it's very difficult to break down. So now it's showing in your skin, it's showing in your middle session, and so forth. So lack of elasticity, you start noticing more of the expression lines, the nasolabial folds, the 11s, the eyes, everything in this is start dripping and all of those things, because the elasticity and the collagen is kind of also decreasing the production. So naturally, we getting older is a biological process. We can't not stop aging, but we can accelerate or delay.
Mm. Got it.
And it looks like accelerate looks like not taking care of your skin on a daily basis, stress, emotional, physical, the lack of skincare, as I mentioned, yeah, and environmental damage, sun, overexposure to the sun, pollution, even blue light is a trendy topic, but I don't believe that. I believe more into building your own immunity. So
Mm.
your body is so intelligent that can kind of combat these things. Um, Delaying is the opposite of everything that I just said. Is really like, okay, um, things are changing. I'm noticing that my skin is research, be in control, and be friend of your skin, your body, but your skin, because your skin is something that you are constantly looking at it, right? Dealing with it. And the skin is not, it's more than just, and I tell my clients, and I remind my clients this the skin is more than just hyperpigmentation and acne. The skin is a protective barrier. The skin is also sending signals to your brain, to your nervous system. Are we safe? Do we need to run? Is it too hot, too cold? It's very, very smart, mechanism. So when you understand that, then you start caring more for it. So what I do as an esthetician, I like to call myself more like a skin coach, where what I do with you, Aaliyah, it's is basically what a personal trainer does with their clients, checking in, like what's going on. Hey, I've noticed this. What happened? Da, 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 da. And your job as a client is to continue that work at home and be mindful that, okay, let me do my part, and then 6 weeks I will see Viviani to reset, right? So we do the extractions to clear pores that are congested. And then now I like to call like I kind of deconstruct the skin, pull apart, and then I start building back up with,
Mm.
the modalities that I use, the serums that I infuse in the skin, my massage, and then the LED, which, how delicious that is. Um, but anyway, not only
No, we
that,
don't. We
you
don't.
you
We don't
We
know how
don't.
delicious that is.
Yeah, Damara, she was only
You're
talking to Leah.
talking. Well, I'm like, oh
No, I'm
my
not. I'm
God.
not, ladies. I'm talking to um she she
Aaliyah, you're talking to Aaliyah.
she but like at the end of the day, the skin is another organ.
It
It's the
is.
largest organ in our body. So if the skin is not well taken care of, you're gonna notice it.
Yeah.
You will have some eye puffiness. This is gonna kind of emphasize. So it's more, skin is more just than a product,
Mhm.
right? Oh, let me get this because it's anti-aging. No, the skincare is more of the commitment behind using those products.
Viviani, you first of all, you're just so amazing. I'm
Thank
just
you.
like so ready for you to like drop that link right? Because I'm just like there, like I'm just gonna be like click, 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 and then I don't care
Click,
if I
click, click.
see you 7 months from now or a year from now. I'm booking, like whenever it is, because you can
Mhm.
tell that you are not only very well versed in what you do, but you're very passionate about what you do. I can hear it in your voice. But I also want to say that, I was brought up in a culture. I'm Puerto Rican. My family is from Puerto Rico. They didn't take care of nothing. They were just brought up where the we were cleaners, taking care of the house and whatever they were. They hate me because I'm Americanized, but um, I'm the brat, right? So, but they were brought up that way, and they were not taught from generations to generations how to take care of their skin, how to take care of their hair, right? So it's kind of like when they had acne and all these, now that I see them older, they have like all these
Scars.
spots on their faces, and it's holes in them. I mean, they're still beautiful, but you can tell because it's visual. Getting a little older, and my face is getting some of those spots, but it's not as bad as them because I
Mm.
have done like some facials. I've tried to do some things, not to what you spoke about, but at least to try to give some self care, right, to
Mhm.
my body. So I try to practice that, and maybe not as well as I should, right? But I still was one step ahead of them, and you can tell me at the age of 50, and I'm proud to say my age, right? At 50 versus one of my cousins or someone that was, or my aunts, whatever, that at the age of 50s or 55, it's a total different look. Like they look 2 times older than me. And I'm like, well, how is this possible? But now it makes sense. So as he was talking, I'm kind of like thinking, oh wow, yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think back to with my brother, right? Like, I'm thinking now you would see a pimple or something, and it'd be like, can you pop that? It's like, can you
Mhm.
now, I'm looking at my girls like, wait a minute, like what's going on with your skin? And it's still so much more to learn, even
Mhm.
like with mine. Just and I feel like a lot of times the suggestion would be drink more water, right? You're not drinking enough water, or I definitely can tell when my period is coming on because
Mhm.
that's when I get the biggest change. And so for anyone, I don't know if you could talk to that, Viviani, in regards to those who are still actively having periods, or those maybe going through menopause. What's going on with their skin? What should you do? What can you do? I'm really wanting to know too, like, what is your skin telling you? I know it's so many different things, but I would think it would be helpful if we just knew. Oh my goodness,
Why
that's
are we breaking out right during those menopause? Yes,
yes,
yes, yes, yes. Those,
yes,
yes. I would like to
So,
tell my daughter that too, because she's always breaking out like right before that. And I'm like,
yep,
your
yep.
period
but
now.
listen, here's the thing. Like, um, I hear a lot of my clients being frustrated with the breakouts. They come to me thinking that is a destination, but
Mhm.
we're not stopping the hormones. We can't, because that's your body.
Mhm.
What we can do is modulate with your routine, being on top, like taking care. If you, when you do have breakouts, not if, when you do have breakouts, then now you're more consistent with your mask. You're more consistent with your exfoliation. You're more mindful of what you eat. So that's how you can manage, but you can't stop,
Mhm.
because at times acne, there are a few things that triggers acne. You're already prone because your testosterone just high. Women, they have PCOS, they have fibroids, they do have a tendency to have problems with or prone to acne. Stress, again, cortisol, hormones, right? So hormones are like they technologies. They're communicating with the body. Like, we need to do and save her from a tiger. Just reading a freaking email.
Mhm.
The body doesn't know the difference. So, but that conversation is taking place in the body. So if you're constantly being faced with stress, it's going to show up not only in your skin, in your joints, everywhere. So breakouts are a way the body to send you a signal something is a little off. So then now it's like, oh, let me use the clay mask that Viviani gave it to me, but I never opened the damn product.
Mm.
You
That
get
quick,
it?
it's like,
Mhm.
okay.
You get it? So it's going to show up. And there are some women they do I'm blessed. When I do have breakouts, it's one here, one here somewhere. But there are some women that is
Mhm.
here and is
Mhm.
ingrown PCOS more severe. Um, if you don't address the acne, or if, for example, for skin of color, women of color, the desire is to address more of the hyperpigmentation, which is a byproduct of the inflamed follicle, right? So anytime the cell that carries the melanin, which is melanocytes, anytime, anytime that the melanocytes are triggered by an inflammatory process, let's say acne, or let's say a scratch or a burn, the melanocytes are acting as a white cell. So
Okay.
it's going to heal the area, but they don't know how to stop overproducing the melanin, because melanin is a defensive mechanism. That's why our collagen is stronger than Caucasian women, because of our complexion.
Okay.
So where did we come from? Motherland. Motherland is hot. Motherland is dry. So our composition is different than Caucasians. They come from a colder zone. They have other things. So melanin rich skin is beautiful. It has its, gifts, but also has its curse. So then now is it's really trying to understand how to support your skin in every phases in your life. And now let's say your daughter Leah, she is exposed to more information than you know, because of social media. So she's into more skincare than you were when you're her age. So it's, within 10 years from now, she's not going to have the same issues that you might have had when you're younger. So it's more like, okay, let me understand what is going on with myself, especially when you're over 40, right? But the challenge is, as women of color, every woman go through this. We are just freaking warriors, period. We are so busy taking care of our families and the village that
Mhm.
we are not aware what's going on with our bodies, because we are everywhere. So we don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So then that's where you're like, okay, let me get a facial. I was watching this girl on Instagram, and she sounds smart, and yeah, let me check her out. Oh, I like this. I like that. Let me get a facial. So she comes and get a facial, and I ask questions, and she's telling me that she's using Neutrogena, and then she's finishing with Vaseline. So then I ask her, okay, so how would you like to improve your skin? I want my skin to be cleaner, tighter, less breakouts. All right. So you need to stop using Vaseline, and you need to get a better cleanser. And here's why. So it's all like the learning that I have to do every time I get a first time clients, because a lot of us don't know the basics. Because again, going back to the beginning, skin wasn't a thing in our times. So once you start kind of implementing that discipline, then you're like, oh, your girlfriend starts saying, oh, shit, you glowing. What's going on?
Yes.
Because that the skin is healthy enough that you are beaming, because your cells are revitalized
I have a
and they are
question. I have a question.
Mhm.
When you talk
Sure.
to your clients and about the like the skincare that they're using, is there like a like do you recommend certain skincare products, or do you sponsor your own? Like how does that go? Like for instance, I use Fenty, right? That's what I use, right? This is my
Mhm.
3-step process. Like, you know, it's so funny. I had to YouTube how to use it, and then literally I had a YouTube because you can find out on YouTube anything how to use
Anything.
the
Mm-hmm.
3-step process correctly. Because I didn't want to just, buy this expensive thing and not use it correctly, right? So is that like something that comes with your, with when you're seeing your clients? Sorry, I lost my words.
No, I understood your question. So I also did a video. I think it was, yeah, it was on my Instagram. I'm very into videos because we are just visuals. I talked about the difference between celebrity brands and skincare brands from professionals. So there is a major difference in quality, right? So it's just like buying genetic products versus the real deal.
Okay.
Um, they invest a lot of money in marketing, and the quality, it's okay. Someone that doesn't have issues with acne, has kind of a normal skin, good enough. But if someone wants is concerned with texture, with pigmentation, acne scarring, then you need something that is more cosmeceutical, more corrective, because the vitamin A is higher, the concentration, the technology behind is more sophisticated, the delivery system is different, right? So these are the things that you have to consider. So I do recommend the products that I've been working with for years. I use myself. I've seen results with my clients, but I also respect people's budget. So I like to, let's say, if you come in with using Neutrogena and Cetaphil, which is a very popular a brand, Cetaphil and CeraVe, which a lot of dermatologists recommend, and YouTubers at times, they're fine. What I want you to walk away with is two products that you might not be using: an exfoliant and a mask. They are two products that you can give yourself a mini facial at home, right? So I believe in the products that I curate because I have them for a reason. They work. But I also, what is more important is for you to understand the purpose of each product.
Yeah.
When you understand, then you can make a decision based on, okay, let me make an investment on this vitamin C serum, which is $120. With that $120, you could have bought a fancy 5 steps, right? But understanding that not all vitamin C's are formulated the same. Not other ingredients, they are there to enhance whatever that serum is. So that, as a professional, is my duty to explain to you the importance of particular products and why you are recommending that particular product. But if you at that moment you can't do 120 over a $270 facial, then let me give you the alternative. But go over here and buy ordinary vitamin C. But it might take a little longer, but I understand that that's where you can start right now, and I respect that. Okay.
I remember the first time you mentioned in retinol, and I was like, that's the stuff I see on TV for like the older white women. It's like, no, no, I don't use retinol. He's like, no, here's the retinol. I was like, oh, okay. There's truly just not an understanding. I'm like, Neutrogena back in the day. That was like top notch. I was
Yes,
like,
you
the
were
hell?
rich if you had Neutrogena in your household.
Yes. And I remember when I first started coming, it was oh my La Roche,
La
La
Roche
Roche.
Posay. That's
Yep.
one brand that I am very familiar with. I use their makeup remover. It's a brand well respected in Europe. So that is a brand that I rely on when people, clients are on a budget to start off with. But then I still recommending not the brand that I carry. I don't have my own brand yet, Damiris.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
yet.
I heard that. Yeah.
but
We're
but
gonna talk after this.
Mhm.
I do like to recommend corrective products such as retinol, such
Mhm.
as exfoliating products that is really improving the texture and also rebuilding the skin, on a deeper level.
Yeah. How
Um,
about you, Sharon? What do you typically do? Because your skin always looks great. What do you
you
do?
always, yes, it's like you're always like you have this light on you all the time.
No,
Every time I see
I
my
I really no, I really struggle with, and I think with the whole menopause thing, I
Mhm.
suffer from a lot of skin damage. Like I used to love just going out the house with no makeup. Now I very rarely leave the house without any makeup.
So
As a
what's
matter,
going on?
so I have like I forgot how to pronounce it. It's like Malaysia or
Melasma?
melasma, right?
Mm.
And yeah, and so I had to like start doing the. That's another thing that I learned as a person of color, that we don't necessarily use sunscreen. And so yeah, and so my doctor's like, listen, you cannot leave the house without it, whether it's sunny, whether it's raining, whether it's cloudy. You need to protect your skin. And so I had a lot of damage, and it was so bad at one that I went over to my brother's house, and I woke up and I just went downstairs to get breakfast, and he was like, "Who punched you in your eye?" And I was like, "I know." It was really dark around my eyes and my cheeks, and I had a little touch up here in my chin. And I said, you know what, I have to go to a dermatologist and see what's going on. I had no idea. Like everything else that was happening with menopause and all this other stuff. And I was like, listen, I don't know what this is. And that's when I was, diagnosed with it. And it's just been, it comes back very quickly if I don't do what I'm supposed to do, and then it will gradually like fade. And then if I fall back into that, even when I go outside, if I'm going like back home to Jamaica, I have to have my hat on when I'm going outside. Yeah, really protect my skin, because I suffer the consequences if I don't. So
Mhm.
it's a
And,
struggle.
and so let me ask you a question. So the dermatologist said to when you came to him or her,
Him.
what was he feedback or diagnosed at that time? What did he say?
That I had skin damage, that
Melasma.
yeah, melasma, and that was causing the dark pigmentations in my skin, and it's it's just being overexposed to the sun and not protecting my skin. And so he did make some recommendations, and that's the other struggle too, because a lot of the recommendations of the sunscreens that he said would work, and he what okay, so two things. I like the fact that he understood my skin. He was not a person of color, but he said your skin is different, and so you need a different type of sunscreen. Not all sunscreens are going to work on your type of skin. And so, but the types that he had that tint, that white tint. Yes. And so I was like, what? I am not going out there looking gray. That's not going to happen. And so I did stumble upon Black Girl
Sunscreen.
sunscreen, and love it.
Hmm.
Love it, love it, love
Hmm.
it. Very moisturizing, very rich, and it's not gray. So I don't look gray. I was just like stuck. And so I think there is definitely value to going to somebody who is like me and understands my, what I go through as a Black person, as a person of color. And so that I think is the next journey that I am, to find somebody who I have right here
So
in
there are a few things to unpack with your sharing. So melasma is a hormonal triggered pigmentation. Period. So Women, they are on peri and also menopause, all of us. Um, Melasma will show up. I overnight, like last year, just showed up with like here. I'm like, what's going on? Like overnight, it was like a little map.
Mm.
Notice a little bit more in lighter complexion, like
Okay.
Latinas, Middle Eastern, Italian. So, oh, let me clarify this. So, women of color is more than just black women. Women of color is the it's as long as you have dark eyes, dark hair, you are considered a woman of color.
Can you say that
Let
again
me.
for the people in the back that didn't hear you?
Oh, okay.
Tell them.
People people of color, as long as they have dark hair, dark eye color, they are people of color. Lighter eyes, lighter hair, they are none. So a lot of people get confused thinking that people of color is just deeper complexion, and that is not true.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, we have, again, and in the beginning, what I said, we have pros and cons of being melanin rich people, period. So in your case, Sharon, I worked with one, so I understand already the protocol. Here's the thing, though. So you are protecting against sun directly, but it's reflecting, it's bounced back from the floor to your face,
Mm.
and so that's one.
Okay.
Two, sunscreen only works if you reapply every 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So outdoors, being a island woman, you're more conscious about that, especially when you went to a profession and now you understand the importance.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a contrarian, right? I do believe in sunscreen, but I do believe more in building the immunity of your body, so you can bounce back with
Mm-hmm.
that sun damage,
Mm-hmm.
right? So your vitamin C, your hydrating products, your after sunny day, just really lather your skin with hydrating products. Watching your diet, like less acidic food or inflammatory food will be your refined sugars and carbohydrates and high fat, like the bad fat. So it's more for me, it's I don't say that on social much because people are just so believe in one way that I respect that, but just based on what I know, like on a cellular level, yeah, it's like look at our ancestors. They didn't have skin cancer as much as we do
Mm-hmm.
because it's just you have other factors these days. The protective barrier of the planet is different, so yes,
Right.
we are affected more to UVAs and UVBs, but stressor is another killer. So if you are under a lot of stress with your job, work, kids, or whatever, that melasma is going to show up regardless. So yes, we all need to wear sunscreen. Reapplication is a must,
Mm-hmm.
and immunity is even more important.
Yeah, I definitely
Period.
agree with you. I do. I,
Yeah.
I think it's about, eating differently, really making sure that you're in tune with your body and what your body's telling you, and listening. So I do 100%. And like all of us have said, it's really is a learning journey. It's about, me understanding more about my body and also passing on that knowledge to my children, and having
Uh,
them be more aware of that too.
But
Absolutely.
listen, you, Sharon, Aliyah, Damaris, I mispronounced earlier. Um, we're I like to call wild plants. We're coming
Mhm.
from Earth. Even growing up here, Damarius, um, you're native of an island. right?
Mhm.
So, or we are so, our DNA are accustomed to the environmental, survival, where sun and heat, and we're comfortable in being in nature. But when you live in this control environment, which is United States of America, then it's different, because you don't have access to nature as much. So our immunity kind of becomes a little weakened because of that. But when you understand, like, the foods that we grew up with is building all that immunity. Now we are not eating that way anymore. Of course, there are some kinds of food that we have eaten before, high fat, right?
Mhm.
That
Mhm.
gives a cholesterol and a high blood pressure.
Mhm.
But there were a lot of things that had exposure to, like herbs,
Yeah.
like remedy is all around us.
Mhm.
We just don't know. We knew through our grandmothers and moms that grew up with that. And so
Mhm.
we are, blessed enough to have that. But there are a lot of women that don't have an idea of that the remedy is accessible. Like, you go to a herbal store, or you have a parent, a neighbor, or a friend that is from an island, another country, and then you hear this thing like, what? Chamomile? Chamomile? Oh, chamomile is just for when I'm sick or when I have a stomach ache. No, chamomile is very calming and soothing. And chamomile also has a brightening effect on the skin if you use a product that has chamomile.
Mhm.
Mm.
So it is a learning journey. And as you become curious and you put yourself in that journey,
Mhm.
then you're more empowered. You feel like you got your shit together. And so it's more than just self-care Sunday. That's the whole point that I said. Like, it's like, take charge of your health, take charge of your how you feel about yourself and how you see yourself. Because I also see a lot of women wanting that kind of skin, that kind of life, that kind of thing outside of themselves, and it's an illusion. You're always going to be chasing after that. So understand, okay, let me see what's going on with my body. Like, for example, my cycle has been irregular. I had it in November, then I got in March, then I got in June, and it show up again like June. Yeah, 3 weeks just showed up. But yesterday I'm like, I'm off. What's going on? I'm off. And then this morning, a dot. I was like, oh, now it makes sense.
Mhm.
So now I'm like, okay, if I crave for sugar, let me go for water, right?
Mm.
So why? Because I'm aware now. Oh, because I did. What I start doing for the past year, I start documenting everything. Oh, my period arrived such day. I felt this way. I wanted to freaking kill everybody. Like, like, just more aware. So when these waves show up, then you're like, oh, I know exactly what is happening.
Mhm.
Like, tracing back, like, things that I have done, decisions that I had made was just so not really thought through. ADHD is just, it's like you just all over the place. And menopause, that's one of the things that can make it worse, because you can't focus with this hormonal fluctuation. So again, like, building a relationship with your skin, with your body, become curious, become a scientist of your body, like, explore those things. And then you're going to be like, oh, I know exactly what is happening. And you know what? I'm at peace, because now I know exactly what is happening. When you don't know, then you are all over the place. Then you're just like unhappy with yourself, period. You know?
Mhm. I really
Yeah,
love
let
what
me
you.
slide this question because I think, oh, I'm so sorry, Sharon.
Hmm?
I
No, no.
want to make sure we ask this question because this was a question put in as you
Okay.
were thinking about symptoms and things like that, like hot flashes and um, knowing your body. And so maybe because you know and you have these cravings, you're like, nope, don't go there, go here. So one of the questions was around what can you do to relieve like hot flashes or something like that without drugs? So how can we stay away from over the counter drugs and things like that, but and relieve symptoms?
Yeah. So great question, and I get asked pretty often. I also don't like drugs. Um, the idea of hormonal replacement is extreme for me. I've never thought about it, but I do have clients that they are going through, and they're like life change, and I was like, good for you, right? So, but I'm very into herbs
Mhm.
and supplementation. So I borage oil, Borage. Um, it's an amazing oil for over time. It helps to balance the hormones over time. So you have to be consistent with that. Um, then you can also take some black cohosh, which is very popular for women that are going through that. But I couldn't stay consistent for some reason. But what I am consistent with is the borage oil, and I make a protein shake every morning with maca powder, MACA, and ashwagandha. I don't know how to spell, but ashwa, ASHU, ganda, GANDA ish. That is, it's an amazing herb. Like both of them gives you the energy, because that's another thing too. Through menopause, your energy is up and down, up and down. So those few things, like something that I take myself. Again, ask your doctor for recommendations. But these are the herbs. If you Google, like, people talk about it. Another thing that I start taking is DHEA, which is also another supplement that is very good for a menopause. And stay away from sugar as much as you can.
Does
Wow.
that include cream? Like, I really stay away from sugars because I'm diabetic, right? Um,
Mm,
so but that I was wondering, does that also include like those sweeteners?
yes, they're the worst.
I kind of figured that. Yeah.
They're the worst, you said?
Yeah,
Really?
because they're synthetic. Well, you have stevia, which is sugarcane, right? It doesn't spike your blood sugar. But if you go for a drink that uses sweeteners, artificial sweeteners, no bueno neither. So the best way, drink your herbal teas without honey, sugar, sweeteners. Just drink straight. It's just that's another thing is unlearn, right?
Yeah.
We Everything has to be sugary or salty or smell good. Now it's like, no, this is good enough. Let me taste the tea. Let me taste this food without, a whole bunch of salt. I love salt. But then now when I cook, instead of using table salt, I use sea salt,
Mhm.
because it has the qualities of, minerals that our body needs. So, as you get to know yourself, you get to know nature, then you're like, oh, I can make a better choice now because I know better, you know?
Shira, you had something you were ready to say before I ask
No,
this
I
next
was just
question?
saying, like, just based on everything that she's saying here, as early childhood educators, which the three of us are, we always are talking about being committed to being a lifelong learner when it comes to
Hmm.
our craft, but we need to be lifelong learners when it comes to our own skin, our own bodies, and making the time, the intentional time to put us first, to make an appointment with ourselves, to check ourselves out so that we can be well enough to continue to be lifelong learners for others. So,
Comes down to that.
I think we're still learning that in our giving, right? We're like nonstop givers. Are you okay? Taking care of everyone. And it's like, that's something that we truly can do better with. And I feel like, if anything, that's our homework to leave here with is, okay, how can I learn me more? right, we spend so much time learning our, children, staff, and how can we do better by them,
Mhm.
but not ourselves. And so I know I'm going to personally take that. And
Me too.
I'm think my husband is here because if he would have come in here like, see, she told you. He always tells me to document what I'm eating because I'm having. I was like just prescribed an EpiPen. Like I'm at 43. Like, what do you mean I'm allergic to foods that I eat all the time? And so I'm
Ah,
having to understand what's triggering a number of things. So I will be documenting
yeah,
what I'm
that's another thing. Like we start developing allergies later in life because let's go back to the immunity of the body, right? And also the quality of the foods that we're exposed to today. So
yep.
is you have these elements that they are real, and certain things that you eat now it makes you bloated. Before it wasn't an issue. Again, because your body is also changing,
Mhm.
and the food is modifying now, genetically modified. So,
And
these
pesticides
are
and all different
exactly,
things.
All
yeah.
of that.
So, yeah.
Before we go, I must ask this question. How does menopause affect your sex drive?
Listen, I had
We're listening.
to
We're listening.
Look,
listen.
everybody's
So,
We're
no, no,
like,
no. So, me, I had year, I had a not midlife life crisis, but it was a revelation for me. I had to call my therapist because I was going cray cray. Aliyah, like I'm managing my business. It's a lot going on, and I just was like low, depressed, like depressed. And my fiance like wanted to, connect.
Mhm.
And I'm like, do not touch me. And but every little thing was bothering me. And I'm like, I don't know if I can do this long term, like, but at the same time, there was a part of me that I was missing. That Viviani, the vibrant and sexual and sensual and all of that. And I was like, what happened with me? What happened? What happened? And then I was like, I need to talk to my therapist because this is driving me crazy. And then she's like, Viviani, uh, duh, you were going through perimenopause. We've been having this conversation for the past 6 months. And my perimenopause symptoms start showing. I remember now like having these waves of heat or warmth. 43, 42. I was like, oh my gosh, it's
I know what
been
you're talking
this
about.
long. And last year, as soon I turned 48, like I was like hot and cold, hot, but it was extreme, 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 extreme. And I'm like, what is going? Oh, this is it. This is it. And then now it's like I have waves, but not as severe because again, I'm on my herbs and supplements. But the sex drive is definitely decreased. I don't have fun with dryness though. But the maca powder is magic.
Okay. Okay. So
It's
that,
magic.
okay, that's right there for the people. My promoter.
So that
Some
Leah, Leah,
gin.
wait. We got to do part two because we
yeah,
got to
yeah.
get deep into
We're
this.
coming
So
up on a
we
time.
gotta,
Yeah.
we gotta, I need to talk about this whole mental fog that I've been in,
Yes.
and like not like really feel like I'm going crazy and didn't realize it. We need to have this unspoken conversation out loud.
Let me. I'm gonna share. I wrote a blog post about menopause in my blog, and I'm gonna drop it here so you ladies have that.
Okay.
Um, and then there's also you can check my website and book a facial when you ladies are ready. But yeah, like but menopause is very broad. Like some of us don't go through it. Majority of us go through it, but the symptoms show up differently too. My mother said that she never went. I don't believe that. I believe that she just was too busy fighting with my father that couldn't even deal with her own body, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so, and then you kind of like, oh, do you have this? No, I don't have that. Maybe I don't have it. No. And even like, listen, I just saw a video about Oprah having being misdiagnosed by her doctor when she was having heart palpitation, but that heart palpitation was related to menopause.
Mm-hmm.
So if Oprah Winfrey was misdiagnosed, can you imagine little people, you know? So it's like, okay, this is not me. What's going on? See a specialist, pay off your, your consultation, or a service by a specialist that can go in and check all your, your hormones and everything thoroughly. And then you're like, oh, and they will be able to tell you like this is what's going on. Versus at times some doctors, they just so overworked and they bored, and that they just put you in that general pool. Oh no, you know, you're too young for that. I heard that when I was before that my surgery. That was 4 years ago. Oh, you're too young for that. It sounds like you might have depression. Like what? But yeah, I'm depressed because I'm going through this. Like I'm asking you to
Mm-hmm.
refer me to a specialist. I'm not asking you to give me a freaking prescription to rob a bank, you know? So it's again, we just need to have more agency about ourselves. And again, skincare is a medium for that because you're checking yourself, you're looking at yourself, you touching your skin, all your senses are engaged because you texture, smell, you massage, and you feel good. You take pride when you start doing that. So now you're more present because your senses are more in tune. So skincare is actually the perfect medium to connect with yourself. Point
This,
blank.
this is a whole retreat or something. I don't know. Talk to Viviani on the side, figure out how we do part two and whatever, because
We need it. We have to
it's
do
so
part
much.
two.
It's
That'll be
like
my pleasure.
so
Yeah.
liberating and right. Like this is what we are trying to figure out. I speak for me for sure. Just like I said a few moments ago, like learning who I am and figuring myself out and what do I like, what don't I like, what's my body saying. And so this was such a rich conversation.
Oh my
Thank
gosh. I,
you.
I loved it because it's for me, like I can talk about self care or inspiration and empowerment all day, every day.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like we women around our age don't have this conversation and
Yeah.
don't have this kind of information
Yeah.
available.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
so for me, I feel like, I can choose to sell products on my platforms, but that's not me. I am more into talking lane terms why your skin is looking crazy. So
Mm-hmm.
it does make sense. Like if you go on my Instagram, I was talking about stop using makeup wipes.
Mm-hmm.
Explain it like, oh, Viv, that it makes sense. I want to stop. Or yeah, you told me when I got a facial from you to stop using it, right? So it's like, as much as because I've been doing this for so long, and also because I've done education for different brands, I have a lot. I know a lot, but not enough for me. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to put this content together, da, 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 da. And then my fiance is like, Viv, come on, babe, just keep it simple. There are women that don't know how to wash their faces out there. Just teach the basics. And I was like, okay. And then I create content around there. It's like, bam, like people are sharing. And I'm like, all right, so let me just simplify this. So,
You know
yeah.
how we do. I tell Viviani too. Every like appointment is like therapy session. I'm like, okay, all right,
Yes. Nice.
gotta
Nice.
catch up. And so we have a therapy session real fast, and then she goes, okay, that's enough. breathe, and then it's like
Yeah,
then
then now I want you to relax,
yes,
right?
yes,
Because that's the thing. Like when the massage comes, right? That is the part of the facial that I'm pushing everything in, and you're
Mm,
melting. You're
yeah,
melting to the table because that is the best way for the skin to absorb all of that,
mm,
and your mind shuts off because as I'm doing the exfoliation, I'm using different products. Your mind is like, what's going on? The texture is a little rough, or too, oh, it's there is engagement, even though you're not talking, but your mind is trying to describe the sensations, right? But there is nothing going on but more of my hands, and then you hear the music, and then you know the rhythm of the techniques and all. It's kind of hypnotic in a way, so you go into the zen mode where everything is happening in that moment. So that's why, like, for me, the facial is a way that I can serve my sisters. Is like, here it is, experience this package and take home and do something about it.
yes.
I love doing that, and I don't, the whole idea of product line, to your question, my dear. I already had created a product line back like 10 years ago. It didn't work out because I didn't have the finances. So, but once this is more stable, I'm gonna get right back to it. Um, what I'm building is an empowerment. It's more than just a facial.
Yep.
I'm building a space where women of all backgrounds, they can come in and restore themselves and just go in the world and keep giving,
I love it.
because they, like, that's what it is. We don't have that, and I feel like I've been gifted to see it and do something about it, and that's what I'm working on right now.
Thank you. Well, thank you
Yeah.
for sharing.
Thank
Thank you, thank you. I did
you
share.
for having me.
No problem.
This was delicious.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. I shared in the chat and your website. Is that the best contact?
Yeah, oh,
Mhm.
Instagram
Okay.
is you can, that's my backyard right there.
And
Website
hurry up
is,
and book because I mean I went on her website. You got as you was talking, I was booking, and I was like,
Damaris.
my
I
gosh,
No,
do,
we have
I
to
do,
put, we got to
Damaris.
put together.
I
We
don't
got to
care.
go together
I'm
and then we'll do
opening
the
so
part two.
Saturday.
I'm sorry, she only had one slot available for some random Wednesday at 10 o'clock.
What
I
about
was,
Saturday? Hold on.
Uh,
I
you said you have
If
a slot
nobody
Saturday.
booked, yeah.
yeah, move
If
it to Saturday. We
nobody,
could do it together. Let's do it,
yeah,
Thank you.
and
I
we
got a
could do a.
cancellation today, so I have a couple of slots available on Saturdays, and this Saturday and Friday I have a 4 o'clock like spot, so 3 spots available.
Promise y'all. I'm not joking. We
Vanessa,
want
you
to
gonna
snag
go
it right.
Saturday? Come with me on
I
Saturday.
can if you just tell me the time. I yeah.
Okay.
Let's talk offline.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But just
so
for everyone that's following, just know that
Do
we're
not book this
gonna
Saturday
put a
because we're gonna
video.
book this Saturday.
We're gonna put
Okay.
a video
Sorry.
coming in as the follow up. We're gonna make it really fun. Sharon and I, Aaliyah. I'm pretty sure you just came from one, so you know.
I can't wait. I can't wait to hear you guys' experience. And so this
Yeah,
is what we will do. I will circle back
yeah,
with Viviani, see what we can do and schedule a part two or whatever.
yeah.
Thank you so much for taking your time and sharing all your
thank
good stuff.
you.
It was a fraction. It
Please.
was a fraction of what you have to share. So I hope all of you, took something away. And I did put the freebie. Viviani gave a link for a freebie. I put in there. I also shared her blog post. Definitely love on yourself. I am going to go back, do my homework. I'm going to jot down, what I'm eating, how it's affecting my body, what my body is saying, what my skin is saying, and let us know if you've done the same and how it is working out. So thank you for joining us on the Impact Podcast. Sharon, thank you for joining us today. It was such a pleasure to have you. Loved it. And so,
Thank
Damaris,
you.
as always, You know how we do. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
And until next time, the Impact Podcast. Have a good one.